Good morning, Trevor. Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning, sir?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm good, thank you. So, everybody on the call, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Guys, we're going to continue on our journey of Excel and Power BI that we started last week. So, today we're going to be really looking at that journey, looking at Power BI reports, dashboards, and data visualization and quick insights. So, a couple of things, Trev. We had some homework last week. I want to find out from everyone on the call, how did we go with our homework last week? So, remind me again, Trev, we had to download
We had to connect up to
demo.
Power BI or get ourselves connected into our Power BI app.
Yes, yep.
Those of you with Zero, connect to the Zero API and have a look at your data in the Zero API and grab some sort of data out of any of your transactional reports and upload that into Power BI and have a look at what the quick insights did. So
Fantastic. Well, what I've done, guys, is I've shared the link in the instant messaging window, in the chat window. So there is the Power BI link on how to connect up Zero and the Zero content pack into Power BI. So for those of you who haven't done it, if you click on that link, and you'll be able to see how to connect up to Zero. Now, guys, we are
didn't
working.
hasn't come through, Roland, did you?
Hasn't come through? All right. Well,
Maybe we're on the wrong.
no, no, no. It is in the right window. Let me just paste it again.
There we go. That's it.
All right. So there's a Power BI community, which is just an excellent community. So the other thing that I also asked you guys to do was download the Power BI desktop. So this is for all of the HubOne subscribers who have got the E3 SKU. They'll be getting Power BI as part of the Office 365 subscription. So hopefully everybody's done that. If you have done it on the call and you'd like to let us know in the IM window, that'd be great. If the dog ate your homework, you can simply say the dog ate my homework, and I haven't done what I was supposed to do last week.
Just,
So
just really quickly, Roland, just
yes,
for the
sir.
benefit of everybody on the call, you're saying there's the desktop app. Can we just run through that just to make sure that everybody understands what that means? You've got your online version of the app, but there is a desktop app as well. And where do you go to download that?
All right. So if you go to just powerbi.com or powerbi.microsoft.com, there'll be a link there for you to download the desktop version of the app. So I want you to think about it in terms of the version in Office 365 is more for collaborating and sharing your information with other people, whereas the desktop version is taking the tools that we used to have traditionally in Excel, like lots of previous versions of Excel, and adding the Power BI functionality, which will then allow you to visualize, publish data, and then save that data as a PBIX file. So you'll see this new file extension that we're going to start getting, .pbix, which is a Power BI file. So we're going to take Excel data, discover, analyze, visualize that, and then share it in Power BI, and hopefully that will expose some of the secrets that our data holds for us. Okay, so this deck we're going to run through is a deck I did at Microsoft a while ago. And actually, guys, some of the feedback we've got is that a lot of the users are still using Excel 2013. So when I'm pushing some of the Excel 2016 features that have changed, people are like, well, it's not here, it's not here. So we're going to take a little bit of a journey back in time, and we're going to run through this deck, but discussing Excel 2013 mainly in this deck. Does that make sense, Trev, where we're going to get the Power BI desktop from?
Yeah, I've gone and I've just been to have a look at. I'm sure everybody else. Just that I didn't realize, and for myself, I didn't know. And the desktop. What's the difference between the desktop app, I suppose, is what I'm saying, and
All right.
the
There
online
are.
version?
Okay, there's a couple of differences between the desktop app and the online version. So, for example, in the online version, you have the ability to get those connections to cloud-based solutions. Whereas if you're on the desktop app may not be able to make that connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's in the cloud and there's other data silos out in the cloud, when we say get data, we get all of these different options, literally hundreds of them. If you go to like, the United Nations, like the World Health figures, and then you can get figures from literally hundreds and thousands of databases. Whereas that's going to be a live connection that we can then pull that information and update our dashboard. If we're doing it in the Power BI desktop, we will have to go and refresh that information. And that's another one of the differences between Power BI and Power BI Pro is the number of refreshes per day and the size of data that you can analyze with Power BI. The Pro version allows you to analyze much more rows of data.
Okay.
So we've really got, there's a couple of things here. We've got Excel, we've got Power BI Desktop, we've got Power BI that comes part of the E3 subscription, and then we've got Power BI Pro, which comes as part of the new E5 subscription. Okay? So one of the things that I just want to stress, guys, when we're talking about this, and even when we're demoing this stuff, right? We had a situation with one of our customers last week. They were running a Skype for Business meeting. They had multiple monitors up. They shared their desktop, but instead of sharing just the single screen, they shared all of their screens, and the second screen had an Excel spreadsheet with contractors, rates, and contact details in. So that came up in the meeting. All right. So Trevor and myself were talking about this beforehand, and one of the things that we like to do is, and I want you guys to all try this if you've got multiple windows open at the moment, okay? If you want to minimize all of the other windows that are on your desktop at the moment, grab the window you're currently in, left click on the top of the window, so you're grabbing that window and shake it a little bit, and what you'll see is all of your other windows will minimize. So it's a feature called Aero Shake. So it's just a quick and easy way of minimizing all the other windows that you've got. So just try that now. If you're doing a webcast and what you've got, what I would classify as HBI information, so that is high business impact on your screen, just make sure that you don't show that information to other people. So that was one of the tips for today.
And the thing we found out while we were testing it today, Roland, was when you close them all off and you finish your presentation, you can grab the same thing and shake them again, and they all open up again.
Yep.
Which you haven't proved.
No,
have you?
no, I don't use that. Aero Shake was a feature. It's called Aero Shake. The feature came out with Vista.
Yeah.
And then somebody just said to me, this was my problem. And I was like, well, this is what I do in the beginning of a Skype meeting when I'm going to share my desktop, so that I don't end up sharing something that I don't want to share with everybody else. Okay? So, all right, guys, let's get into it today then. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out looking at analyzing data within Excel, okay? So really what we should be looking at here are things like Power Query, okay? So this would enable information workers to have like a familiar experience of Excel whilst starting their journey onto Power BI. So we can get structured data, unstructured data. So, when we're looking at our data sources, there's a data tab. If you guys are all in Excel, I want you to click the data tab in Excel.
Maybe we all should open Excel first.
All right.
Well, I'll go and do that.
Just everybody open up Excel. You've got home, insert, view, page layout, and then you should have data. So what this is going to allow you to do, you've got over on the right-hand side, from other sources, existing connections that you might have. Okay, you can go and create a new query from a file, from a database, from Azure sources. So when you talk about structured data here, this could be a database, including some type of relational database like a SQL database, or you can get semi-structured data such as an OData connection or some data search capabilities with these external connectors on the internet. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to discover the data, right? So go and get your data. There may be internal corporate data. Have you got the mother of all spreadsheets sitting in your environment? I've worked with companies that have said, this spreadsheet is so important. We lose the spreadsheet, turn the lights off and go home kind of thing. Are we doing any type of analysis on that spreadsheet. So we discover that spreadsheet, then we should click through and say, right, now we want to start building up relationships between that spreadsheet and maybe a bunch of other spreadsheets, or all of that data. So I've got structured, semi-structured, unstructured data. Are there common fields? Okay, so when they're common fields, what we want to do is we want to create relationships and hierarchies with this data. So what we normally use to do that is, you guys should all have in Excel, just after your data tab, there should be a Power Pivot tab. Now, if you do not have a Power Pivot tab, okay, this is a free download for Excel. Okay, so if you haven't got it, I want you to download it. Depending on which version of Excel you've got, you can add this into Excel. And then what you do is you then start to marry up the different bits of data. And I want you to think of Excel. I want you to take something that you know. Essentially what you're doing here, guys, is we're marrying up different columns. And we're saying that column in that spreadsheet is related to that column in that spreadsheet. So now we're starting to build relationships between our different bits of data.
So can we just go back, Roland, just on the where you said you can download that? I don't have that
Power Pivot. Okay.
Pivot,
So just do it. All right. So just do a search. So you can just go Power Pivot add-in.
Oh, just go to Google it or something like that.
Google or whatever you want, and just type in Power Pivot download or add in. You see it'll come up Power Pivot. As soon as you type in Power Pivot, it'll come up like Excel 2013, Excel 2016.
Okay. Turn on Power
Yep.
View in Excel.
So it's been around since 2010.
Yeah.
So no, you got Power View, you got Power Pivot, different things, right?
Okay.
Power View is actually the very next slide, so you're leading us on beautifully.
Oh, okay.
Well, all these tools. That's what I was saying about Power BI. It's all of these tools, Power Query, Power View, Power Pivot, all make up Power BI. These are the power tools that are the building blocks for what we see today as this rich analysis, reporting, and collaboration tool that is Power BI. So Excel 2010 introduced Power Pivot, but 2013 really introduced this concept called Power View. So if everybody's got that up, when we start to look at Power View, then we start to visualize our data. So this is also an add-in that we can look at, and it provides quick analysis. Now, quick analysis is a thing that some of you may have done before. I've done lots of different examples of spreadsheets with quick analysis views and stuff like that. I'll actually share a spreadsheet with you guys, and then we can all have a go and see how we go with it. I beg your pardon, Trevor?
Neil's just asked a question in there, something about the Manage Data Model button. I'm not sure what you're asking, Neil.
Let me have a quick look at that. Okay, the Manage Data Model button takes me to Power Pivot. Okay, so you're running 2016, Neil's running 2016, I think.
Yeah,
it's taking him straight to Power Pivot then. So this is what I say, depending on which version you've got, some of these it's an add-in, and some of them it's built in.
Yeah, okay, so it was built in for me. So Neil's, thank you, Neil. Yep. You pointed me in the right direction.
All right, okay. So, but you were downloading Power, what were you initially downloading there? You were downloading Power Pivot?
Yep.
Okay, so you just the Power Pivot add-in, but the Power View is built in then. Okay. So the quick analysis, guys, quick analysis is going to let us take any spreadsheet or any data within a spreadsheet, highlight that range of data, and then what we can do is right-click on the range of cells we've highlighted and select to do quick analysis or quick views on the data. So we can demo that. Let me just get a file for us to demo. All right. Just sharing my desktop for you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share a file with each of you, right? So we're going to drag this file into the window, and you should be able to download it. Okay, so I'm sending through an attachment, guys. So I've shared the attachment with everybody. If you click on the screen at the bottom, you should be able to go to Manage Content, and there's an Excel spreadsheet called Northwind June Expenses. So I want everybody to open Northwind June Expenses now.
Okay.
And all right, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my second screen here. And let's have a look at two features on this spreadsheet, and I'd like everybody to do these two features with me, okay? Because this is the birthplace of the quick analysis that we currently get within Power BI. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to populate some of the spreadsheet. We're going to use a feature called Flash Fill. So I want everybody to move to cell D3, okay? Inside cell D3, I can see over in column A and column B and column C, I've got some fairly raw data that I've pulled down regarding my expense claims. So what I want you to do is everybody go to cell D3. Inside cell D3, I want to start passing some of the data that's in column B, which is fairly raw data, ads, advertising, John, Eves, events, Jenny. I want to start passing that data across onto column B. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, who was spending the money in column B? And firstly it's John, so type in JOHN and then press down arrow and John will appear. The next person is Jenny, so type in JEN, and what you'll see is Excel 2013 and 2016 start to autofill. They can see the pattern that you're doing, right? So it's cell D4 should be Bill, D5 should be Sally, Paul, John, and so on and so forth. So did that work for you, Trev?
Yeah,
Okay, so right arrow onto column E, and I want you to everybody go to cell E3. In E3, I want you to type advertising, down arrow once. Type events, okay? As soon as you start typing EVE, it should start flash filling, right arrow again, and now we should have two additional columns, D and E, populated with data. Has everybody got that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Then I want you to highlight from cell C3 down to cell E23. Once you've highlighted that range of cells, okay, there's a little icon that appears on the bottom right hand corner of the range of cells you've highlighted called quick analysis. Look what we're doing right now on your slides. We're doing analysis and visualization of your data. So this quick analysis says, all right, just this little cell of data, not multiple spreadsheets or semi-structured data we want to analyze. Click on that. Across the top you've got formats, charts, totals, tables, spark lines. Under formatting, I want you to hover over data bars, see what it looks like, color sets, icon sets. What this is allowing us to do is quickly visualize the data. Even the icon sets is saying what's staying the same, what's going up, what's going down. Click on charts on the top of your little window. Look at clustered columns, clustered bars, clustered columns. Go through and look at the different types of visualization that you can quickly and easily get. Click on totals. And you'll do things like averages, at sums. Click on tables. Just FYI, this is a real quick and easy way to make a pivot table if you want. But I'm going to go back to charts because we're visualizing the data. And I'm going to go to, I like that view, the second charts view, the clustered bar view is going to be added in there. And now it's going to show me how much money has been spent on PR, promotions, events, digital marketing, and advertising, respectively. Over on the right-hand side now, I can start to see I've got pivot chart fields. And now this is when we start to go and choose the different fields and start to create relationships between the different fields that we've got. Okay, so when we talk about data visualization, guys, that's really what we're talking about here is extending the functionality of Excel out to Power BI. So on your screen now you should have some of the analyzing and the visualizing of data. What you can start to do then is you can start to overlay stuff like that onto using geospatial data. So for example, we've got this thing called Power Map. So this is another add-in that we can use. And Power Map allows us to bring that data based on, like if you're an accountant in Cairns, for example, and you wanted to see where your different customers were, what revenue you're getting from all your different customers in the area, if there was an area that had a lot of business growth and you didn't have customers in there, there was a lot of small businesses, you wanted to target to that area, see if you can recruit new customers from that area. This would give you a really good insight to see on a geospatial way where your money is coming from. Okay. All right.
Come on, finish your message.
Okay.
Say something.
But the thing is, guys, I said last week that, the eyes are merely light-sensitive skin cells. And when you're looking at a massive Excel spreadsheet of numbers, sometimes it's hard to be able to see what those numbers mean to you. But this gives you just a different way of analyzing that data. All right. So, guys, now that's analyzing data with Excel. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to bring Excel into Power BI, and this is our whole journey, okay? So, I mean, what are the benefits, from a Power BI perspective? It's really about sharing and collaborating. In my mind, Trev, if somebody said to me, what do you believe are the key points, okay? It's the cloud for me is about sharing and collaboration. I say to people sometimes, collaboration is a new competition. It's like orange is the new black, except for BI, instead of jail term. So what we get is we get these Power BI sites, okay? And it's really a way in which I can then take that PBIX file, and when you look at Power BI, the desktop, you can say, I want to publish the report or the dashboard that I've just created and share it with other people. Why are you doing this analysis of data? So that you can keep this information to yourself? No, generally it's analysis of the much bigger picture of your business. And if you do anything like that, you should really be sharing it with other people. So where does Power BI live? Well, in reality, Power BI lives on SharePoint.
Let's just go
Yeah?
back a little bit, Roland,
Yeah.
for the
Yes.
slow ones on the
All
group
right.
like myself. So what you're saying is we need to understand Excel and those pivot tables and all that information in order to then work within Power BI.
I
Because
think
that's
so.
effectively all we're doing is we're really publishing our Excel spreadsheet in Power BI.
Exactly, and Excel's one of them. I mean, data could come in like lots of different sources, but just because of the businesses we're dealing with here, most of them have their data in Excel spreadsheets. So it's garbage in, garbage out, Trevor. Unless we
Yeah.
make sure the data's good when it goes into Power BI, we're going to be looking at reports, and instead of revealing their secrets, they're going to be telling us lies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've done questionnaires and surveys for different events and that, and depending on how you pose the question, you can really be smart with how you pose the question and get the answers you want. And that's not what we want to do. I don't want to do that. I don't want to come up with a hypothesis and say, I think that this area of the Cairns business district is generating most of my revenue. That's our hypothesis. And then what we often do is look for data to support that. What I want to do is make sure my data is in the best possible condition and the hygiene of my data. I have a high confidence level in the hygiene of my data. Then put it into Power BI and say, all right, baby, now show me the secrets that you've got. Because when you look at it like that without having expectations, it might surprise you.
Hmm.
But if you go in with the expectations, it's almost like you're looking for data to validate your prejudice or your gut feeling. I don't want us to take that approach. I want us to go revolutionary here and say, right, all bets are off. I'm going to put my data in there, and then I'm going to go, wow, that's interesting. I would never have thought that. That's a kind of reaction. Then I know my data is exposing those secrets.
Yep.
That's I want that wow factor, Trevor. And when you share it with other people, you say, hey guys, I've been looking at the spreadsheet and here are some interesting insights I've exposed through Power BI, and you share it with people, and I want them to go, wow, did you think most of our business came from there? Did you know that our bottom line is better in these three geospatial areas, and in these three areas all of these guys are late with payments. Our bottom line is sitting at about 15% on these deals, whereas it's 20% on these deals, or 5% and 3%, whatever your business operates at. But I want those secrets to come out, And previously, this used to be the responsible of a database administrator or someone like that. Whereas I think that this should be the tools that everybody in our business has access to.
Yep.
So when we look at refreshing the data, because one of my problems with people creating reports, and I've been in businesses where literally people have spent weeks or months building a report, and you know what? By the time they email me the bloody spreadsheet, it's out of date. And nearly every time. My previous company before Microsoft, I worked for a large IT company. We used to get monthly reports on stuff, and people were like, these figures are wrong. And I'm like, no, they were right at the time that the report was generated a month ago. But are they wrong now? Yes, they are wrong now, and they're out of date. Okay, so cloud-based business intelligence is really a way of keeping your reports connected. You can connect to on-premise data, you can connect to other cloud data, and then you can schedule refreshes for your reports. So if you want to connect to like on-premise databases, you need this data management gateway. What I would most likely do, best practices in my mind, is to take where you see that on-premises gateway or on-premises database. Where would you stick that, Trevor?
In the cloud.
Yeah, I put that in Azure. Ask ABS. It's probably a better way of doing things.
Okay.
A scalable, elastic environment might be something.
Yeah.
I'm just going out on a limb. It might be
Yeah.
something that they're interested in participating in. All right, but then we can do data searches, and this is where we go to that data catalog, okay, and start to look at what data you've got access to. I remember years ago I watched a thing, one of those TED Talks about some guys from the World Health Organization, and they're trying to consolidate databases for the United Nations about infant mortality and disease rates and that all around the world, and it was so silo, Trevor. They literally had to build this like big data center to pull together all these databases. That was 7-8 years ago. You know what now? All of those databases are now in the cloud.
Yep.
And you can generally have access to them. So this data catalog is growing all the time. Zero. When we started these series 6 months ago, Zero was not in the data catalog.
Yep.
Now they're there, and you can establish that connection. And it's really public data, corporate data, shared data, and the trick in Power BI is getting multiple sources and mashing them up. Okay, so then Power Pivot and Power BI, when you share a dashboard, Trev, it shares it in an industry standard. It uses HTML5, but let's not worry about that. Let's worry about the fact that every single device out there that uses HTML for a browser can view the data in a browser window on SharePoint. So what this allows me to do is maybe take one of my clients' data, do some data analysis on your client's data, and then share it with them and go to them and say, you know what, we've been going through the data on your business, and we have exposed some secrets or some insights in your data. Can I share these with you? So imagine that picture there, standing in front of your customer with a tablet, and then saying, let's have a look at this, and saying, well, if we change this metric here, and you can start to ask questions of your data, and you can say, where are my most profitable clients based on postcodes? And that'll bring the geospatial data and show you a map of the Greater Cairns area and where your most profitable clients are. If this was a client of yours, and I keep using my example of someone running a coffee shop, you could say to them, I've done analysis of the coffee shops in the Greater Melbourne area, and on average, a large flat white is selling for $3.69. You're currently selling yours for $3. We surmise if you take it up to $3.50, will increase your bottom line by 5%, and it should not have an impact because you are still below the average in this postcode. That's information you would never have known. But your data's got those secrets, the public data's got those secrets, and this is just a way of getting that data out to you. Apparently, cans is not a good example to use. So, Trev, I know it's a bit of it wasn't as practical today and hands-on today as we normally do with these sessions, but people are struggling with the wide Power BI and the journey that we're taking. So keep taking us back to Excel, something everybody in this call knows, loves, has used it for years, and has a great belief in the Excel product. And I want to take you on that journey to Power BI, because it's the origins or the birthplace of Power BI is Power Pivot, Power View, Power Query, all these power tools within the Excel environment.
So what we, and I'm my head's spinning at the moment. I'm trying to work out and I can see the correlation and where
Yes.
those steps are. But what we've got to do, Roland, is we've got to get to a point where we can and start working with accountants and getting them to understand that how easy it is to get that information out of their clients, out of their own systems,
Yes.
and get that data, and then start working and analyzing the data. Because at the moment, it's just there's so much information. Even if you really look at the Xero API and that link and the get data, it's just there's so much data in there. And what we've got to start to do is start to pull out and understand it ourselves. So then we can, understand it first before we can sort of try and explain it to our clients as to what they're seeing.
Perfect. So I want you to analyze your data. So here's what we're going to do, guys. Next week is going to be a very practical week, okay? Next week, I would like everybody to have some spreadsheets that you would like to analyze, okay? Your Xero connections configured, Power BI desktop, and Power BI in Office 365 all ready to go. So have those fired up. I think we should send a reminder next week, Trevor, saying bring all of these things to the class, and on the call, while we're doing it, I want you to be doing it at home. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to download all of this stuff now is because if you start downloading it during our call, you will stuff up our bandwidth, well, your bandwidth, and you'll think, Roland and Trevor are running a terrible call here. No, you're busy downloading 20 megs of data or something whilst you're trying to listen to us streaming a podcast. It's not going to work. Well, it will work, but you'll think our podcast sucks, okay? And it's not us. It's it's like when you end a relationship. It's not me. It's you.
Maybe a good starting point might be
tell me
a list of your clients last year.
Yes.
Their invoices and their postcode, if you want to do that, and then see if we can.
All right.
Maybe we'll do the same thing.
Yes.
We'll get a list of clients.
Our clients, postcodes, how much invoices.
Invoice for the year, so clients by invoices and postcodes, and then let's see if we can create a geospatial map based on that information.
I like it a lot. All right, Trevor, thank you for your time today. Sorry it was so much theory, guys. Next week is going to be too much practical.
We did promise that we were going to do this, and
we did.
And bend everybody's minds on theory, because unless you understand what's going on under the hood, it's very difficult to go through that process of and generate what you're wanting to generate from it. So
it is like the Simon Sinek TED Talk, unless you understand the why, everything else is a moot point. All right. So, Trevor, once again, thank you so much for your time and attention, and thank you to everybody on the call. It's been an honor talking today, and an honor being part of this journey to Power BI with you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Roland. See you then. See you, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.